I'm in the Netherlands. Remarkably, this small nation is the world's second largest exporter of food. But I want to learn more about a couple of key environmental issues facing the livestock sector. The first is curbing nitrogen emissions. I've come to leading agricultural facility Wageningen University to meet nitrogen expert Wim de Vries.
Well, at this moment, the specific thing is ammonia that comes from agriculture. And on the other hand, it's nitrogen oxides that come from traffic and construction, etc.
Nitrogen can be a ground and water pollutant and a contributor to climate change. It comes from various sources, but about 40% of the nitrogen that falls in the Netherlands is thanks to agriculture. That's largely due to a combination of nitrogen-rich feed, fertilizers and animal waste, and it's been an issue in the country for a long time.
Since the 80s, the ammonia emissions have been reduced by 50–60%. But still we are above critical levels of nature protection. So we have to go further.
Now, recent legislation has frozen the expansion of dairy, pig and poultry farms. Some experts have even suggested that livestock numbers should halve. In response, farmers have taken to the streets in protest, concerned about their incomes and the potential costs involved.
Well, farmers are angry because they have the feeling we have done already so much.
Of all the livestock farming in the Netherlands, dairy farms account for about 60% of nitrogen emissions. That's why I've come to this dairy farm near Leiden, where experts from the university are working to cut its nitrogen output.
There are three areas: feed, manure and grazing, where they can reduce nitrogen in a very effective way. But you have to create awareness about where the opportunities lie.
When it comes to feed and grazing, the aim is for cows to eat grass or silage like this rather than nitrogen-rich industrial feed. Meanwhile, techniques like putting air filters in the sheds, separating liquid and solid animal waste, diluting the manure with water and then injecting it into the ground are all effective ways to cut ammonia output.
Are these expensive techniques? Do they require lots of investment?
No, it costs less money. The important thing is that the efficiency is bigger. So at the end of the line we make money out of it.
Birkebaum's ammonia emissions have come down by a quarter in each of the 3 years since adopting these new techniques. Experts believe that a 40% drop across the Netherlands is not unrealistic. But while nitrogen is a particularly hot topic right now, I also want to find out how the agriculture industry here can move towards a wider target of cutting greenhouse gas emissions. Until now, and despite the effects of the coronavirus, the European Commission has said it will stick with its ambitious target to become carbon neutral by 2050. As part of that, Dutch farmers are aiming to cut their emissions by about 11% by 2030. I'm on my way to Kipster. They call themselves the world's first carbon neutral farm. But what exactly does that mean, and how do you manage to get an egg with no carbon footprint? Kipster is home to 42,000 hens. Farmer Ruud Zanders is using a variety of techniques to become fully carbon neutral. For example, his hens are of the more efficient white egg-laying variety, and they all live in state-of-the-art solar panel-topped coops. A key part of Zanders' strategy involves what he feeds his chickens.
70% of the carbon footprint of an egg depends on what you are feeding your birds. And we are making a feed with only waste products, for example bread or biscuits. All these kind of things which we cannot eat anymore or we don't want to eat anymore.
These waste scraps have half the carbon footprint of regular chicken feed.
It looks pretty edible. I mean, if I wanted to, I could probably put it in my mouth. This includes sort of Rice Krispies. We have toast over here, which is broken up with biscuits, and some broken off rice cakes, flour and everything else.
A Kipster egg costs around 26 euro cents, about the same price as a free-range egg. The company now has 2 farms and plans to have 4 more in the US by next year. It's also in talks with parties in France, Germany, Belgium and the UK. So the Kipster business model doesn't look like a flash in the pan.
What we want to do is we want to show the world that it's possible. We want to export this concept to other countries.
A huge challenge lies ahead for Dutch farmers. But they seem to be taking steps in the right direction. And in a country that exports almost 100 billion euros a year in agricultural products, that could prove significant for the entire world.